down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
All right, welcome to the Landlord Lunch. I'm excited that you're here. Today we're going to talk about LLCs. My job today is just to moderate, I guess you could say mediate, whatever, is to foster questions and get them done. The first part of this, I'm going to go over, I just did an LLC. I'm going to go over the play-by-play, exactly how to do an LLC. If you take notes, you can go do an LLC today. You don't need an attorney, okay? We also have a wonderful attorney, Jackie Short, Esquire. We do a lot of business together. She's always my first call. Even yesterday around 5 o'clock, I was in a massive situation on a commercial lease. How do I handle this situation? And she walked me through the process. And then we have Rose Taylor, who is tardy, and she'll be here any minute. And she is the financial wizardry behind books and assets, liabilities, S-Corp, C-Corp, because those things are going to come up here in a minute. Okay, those are very important things that you need to know, and we'll walk you through all that process. Cool, does everybody understand? So this is not the Steve VanCauwenbergh show. This is whose show? This is your show. This is the Landlord Lunch, and so we're here just to learn from each other and move on. Who does not have an LLC? Okay, who wants an LLC? Okay, who's had an LLC done by an attorney? Okay, how much was it? 600 bucks? 2,000. Did they do anything else for you?
Yeah, they did articles of organization and did a bunch of other stuff.
2 G's. Anybody else?
300.
350. Why do you think it's so from 2,000 to 300 bucks? Why is it so all over the place? This is you're trying to interact.
Supply and demand.
Supply and demand. Wholesaler. Confused. Is that why you try to make 10,000 on every deal? Oh, supply and demand. Come get your. No. Made me look bad, girl. No, front row. Slide.
Because the lawyer will say they can do it, then have somebody else do it, and then double the cost.
Okay, say it again.
Because the lawyer will say they can do it, then go get another lawyer to do it, then double the cost.
Or they have their paralegal do it, or what's a person that just helps them, an assistant, do it. Mm-hmm. It's also called a boiler plate. Okay, so that's one thing you need to know, and I think that there's some key things, and I do recommend hiring an attorney. What's one good reason why you should hire an attorney to do your LLC?
Because they'll set it up properly.
That's not necessarily true. Because what's the difference between the $600 guy and the $2,000 guy? It's set up properly.
$1,400.
14 ASS. I'm not cursing today.
What I meant was,
Don't try to give me the curse.
they were looking at the situation and trying to figure out what's best fit for you and your company.
Okay. So what was the question again? I forgot.
I'll tell you one difference. Having the lawyer set it up.
Okay. What? Say it again.
The lawyer setting it up.
What's the difference from what?
What are the differences?
Okay, the main benefit. What's the main benefit? Okay, what's one of them?
They'll defend it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Letterhead.
Hopefully.
They're on the line.
You'd like to think liability.
I don't know if they're on the line, but one thing is when you get served legal documents, guess who they send it to?
The attorney.
The attorney, usually. So when I got my very first LLC done, I was in a basketball game playing with this dude. He just got out of law school. He's like, I'll do your LLC for you. Okay. 20 years later, he still gets subpoenas for me. It's been an awesome blessing.
Because you get a lot of.
I'm being serious. So be prepared because I'm fixing to show you. These are just concerns. I mean, these are just concerns. You need to be paying attention because I'm going to show you play by play on how to make an LLC. Okay? And someone said before he does it right. What'd you say, Jasper?
Yeah, I said they do it right
Or
applicable to your situation.
Yeah, it's not necessarily. That's the case. You can spend $10,000 and it could be wrong. Okay? Cool on that one? We're good. All right, this is how you do it. First of all, since we got the super accountant / bookkeeper, enrolled agent, accounting firm, whatever the frick you do over there. Now I've been waiting for you to say this one question because you'll be excited. Now listen, this is where you need to write this down. Okay, I just learned this. If you don't have an LLC, you will pay self-employment tax or you'll save self-employment tax 12.4%. So if you don't have an LLC, you are going to be in your tax bracket You'll clarify this for me. I know. I'm gonna get it out. She's gonna change me, but I'm just gonna get it out there. This is how I understand it. That I don't have an LLC, and I try to do my taxes, and I'm an idiot. I'm gonna pay self-employment tax, or I'm gonna pay higher tax than if I had an LLC. No.
No, it doesn't matter. It's what type of income it is.
Okay, but my understanding, what I read, is that I have to have an EIN number, and then I can. Okay, well maybe I'm wrong. Alrighty, first question smashed.
Sorry.
The person that told me this, I'm gonna find out. So hold on, because I don't like to look like a joker. But my understanding, and it made sense to me, if you're just a regular blow Joe doing some kind of regular blow Joe business, that you're gonna you pay self-employment tax.
That's correct.
Okay, that's 12.4%.
15.3.
Okay, well that person. Well, she's a little older, so she can still be back in the old time.
Yeah, you pay.
Okay, explain that to me.
You actually pay the FICA, and then you pay the FICA twice, and then you pay the Medicare or whatever.
Okay, so explain what I'm trying to say, because I can't tell.
So you're saying that if you just have, I don't know, your snow cone stand, and you don't have an LLC, you're going to pay self-employment tax on that,
Okay,
right?
but if I had a corporation,
But if you have an LLC, you're still going to pay self-employment tax on that.
okay,
If you have a S-Corp,
mm-hmm.
then that's how we can help save on self-employment tax.
Okay, so having an entity, I should probably say that.
Yeah.
An entity, aka EIN.
Well, either way.
You have to have it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's just break it down. So that was a good fumble. We'll keep on rolling.
It's the election, how you elect.
So you don't have to have an LLC. You can still have your
To be a
small
business, you can be sole proprietor.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, you don't have
but
to have
there's
an EIN.
so you need to be a entity, a S-Corp or a C-Corp, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can avoid this potential tax.
You can reduce your
Okay.
self-employment tax.
That's what I meant to say. She said it better than me. All right. Number one. First of all, you got to choose the name of your LLC. Okay? You got to choose your name. Now, you need to find out. This just happened to me just recently. You know, someone may already have that name, and you got to register the name. Your name can't be a bank, university, trust, agricultural, engineering, or an engineer, Olympic, or a realtor. Interesting. That's the law. Please adjust me if I'm wrong. Okay. You have to have a registered agent. And who could that registered agent be? Anybody want to answer?
Yourself.
Anyone. Now, what we said earlier, if an attorney does it, he could be your registered person. So, it could be anyone. All right, everybody got that? So you got to come up with a name. Flunky LLC. Okay. Then you got to make sure that name is available. You got to go to this website, and we have some handouts to get you to all these forms. They're passing around. If you don't have that, just come find me. I have a stack of them up here. You go to sos.ok.gov, G-O-V. And actually, I just went through all these. This whole sheet that I made. I did this whole thing, just made an LLC, just because I don't like to show up here and not knowing. Well, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I've done it. You search. If it's not a registered business, then you can create your LLC. The first thing you have to do, you got to create this thing called Articles of Organization. Okay, they have these articles on their website. Pretty simple. Now, you got to scroll down to Oklahoma Limited Liability Companies. It's all the way on the bottom to the left for that form. Okay, there's a bunch of these forms on that website. Just make sure you scroll down and go to the Oklahoma Limited Liability Companies. Click on there. You got to download this form, FM0074.
That's the Articles of Organization.
Yes, sir.
FF.
FM, like the radio, 0074. You open this up, and then you fill that form out. That form is, how much is that form?
$100.
Now, you might use this credit card right here. Here you go. Joanne, you want to use this credit card?
Sure.
Yeah. There you go. Glad we didn't charge anything. We were about to open up a bunch of LLCs in your name. Okay, now you pay $100 for a filing fee. It takes, how long does that take to get that done? a week or two, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. Or you can pay $25 and get it instant. So you thrifty landlords out there, Ellen, you can pay $25 more or not. One way. Okay. That's it. Now, in your articles of organization, there's 2 key things that you need to be aware of. Anybody want to guess what those are? Members. Good job. Oh, we'll give you 1 prize. You get a knife,
Yep.
Take as many
Oh,
knives.
wait, no, I already got one of those.
Sonic card,
Huh?
calories.
Sonic.
Quickly.
I don't need Sonic.
Quickly.
Give me a book. You got a book?
Yeah, you need to read this one.
I already got that one.
Oh, there you go. There you go, buddy. How to be rich. Good luck. Try to be rich. Okay,
He's already rich. Here, get
you can be a single member, which is probably what you're going to try to do, and then if you're going to have a 2-member LLC, okay, you got to put that in there, and then you need to have a designation. Okay, so there's a member managed and a managing member managed.
Do you need your half price books receipt back?
No, that's for you, buddy. You can write that off on your taxes.
I need your duty listed.
Okay, so I see this a lot, and just people ask me this question all the time. Should I have my wife on my LLC? Anybody want to take an answer for that?
Yes.
Or no.
It's a 50-50 chance, guys and gals. She smiled.
I
You
have
can,
her as a
you can
majority
put it in
member.
the.
My man's shoving bread in his mouth.
You can put it in the.
Should you have your wife on the LLC? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes.
Who says yes?
Majority member.
If they're part of the organization, if they're not actively part of it, then I'll leave them off. That way you can.
Well, I don't have mine on there. No. Why don't I have mine on there?
Protect her.
Protector is one reason.
It complicates the operation.
Complicates everything. Because what happens?
Then you're-
Who has to sign every time you?
Then you are a multi-member.
Then you're a multi-member, and it pushes you into a totally different tax
You
situation.
can.
Maybe not.
No, but
No, you can have. A
It messes up the whole deal.
in there.
Just go solo if you had to ask the question. Okay, I'm just being serious because like every time I try to close with somebody with an LLC, the poor wife has to come. It just dilutes the whole situation, and there's just more paperwork unnecessarily.
I had to do that because my wife is military and she was deployed. So with an LLC and a power of attorney, it helped me to be able to do it that way without her having to be there.
Now I learned something about
Because it was in the bu-
can an LLC have a power of attorney?
Yes.
Nope. I learned that you can't because it's an entity. An LLC is an entity, so you can't have a power of attorney. A power of attorney is for a person. Figure that out. Now there might be a
Oh,
different
yeah,
terminology
you-
for that.
you
Well, then
cannot do
maybe
it.
it was a
You can't do
memorandum or
transfer
something in the
deed.
LLC, but there was something.
I'm just saying I learned that on a transaction.
Anyway.
Can I explain it? No. Yes, sir.
In the members of the LLC, aren't there members and managing members?
Yes.
And then that would, I mean, she could be a member if it was your wife and not a managing member, and the managing member would do the decisions.
Well, then you have to have yes. You can have a designated person be the manager, and then you can have the board of directors.
Right.
But again, you're complicating the LLC.
Yeah, but you think as far as signing something, you can have one person sign.
Right.
that however many members you have are still going to have to get a K-1 at the end
Yeah.
of the year, put it on there.
And then, like for example, this is why I'm bringing this up. So you have 3 members on there, on your LLC, and you want to do your taxes, and that entrepreneur has a tax strategy of doing his taxes when? October 15th. Okay, that's their tax strategy, right? But you have a different tax strategy, and you want to get your taxes done February 15th. Okay, that could be a problem because when you have this LLC, you have to get a K-1 from that you're managing for the board of directors, members in the LLC. That happened to me before.
I see that happen quite a bit.
That happens a lot, and it actually could affect, like, if you're borrowing money. If you're borrowing money and you need your taxes done in a timely manner, and that entrepreneur has their own issues going on, and they're maybe being audited, or maybe they have to redo their taxes, or they're having a circumstance that needs, so you can, these are just suggestions. I'm not an attorney. Did I say that already? You can't sue me? You could probably sue me, but it's okay. I'm broke anyway. So I just keep these things in mind. These are just things that I have found out through time. So, okay, is it cool on that? Anybody want to talk about that? Any questions on that? So does anybody know what a K1 is?
No.
Okay, who you know what a K? You want to try it, Con, for a prize?
I have S corporation, so I know the K1.
Okay, great. Anybody want to tell me what a K1 is?
That's where you put down all your finances in.
Okay, explain it, Curtis.
K1.
What a K1 is?
Actually, just basic forms showing the expenses and earnings, right?
Does anybody know exactly what a K1 is?
The profits you have to share, you have to issue the K1 to different partners.
Yeah, it shows you that what that company has
It's
done.
information.
Everybody gets that information what the company's done, so they declare it on your taxes.
Think of like when you're an employee and you get a W-2. It's just like that, but from the S-Corp. So it shows your net earnings based on whatever your percentage ownership is.
Does it show everybody's?
No, it just
What
shows
the companies.
yours. And
So-
yeah.
Yeah, you need that to get your taxes done. You have to declare that information. So if your LLC does not have their bucks in order, and you're trying to borrow money, like you have your own real estate business going, and you're borrowing money, and you're active, and you have a great accounting company, and everything's going great, and you decide to start an LLC with a friend, and they're running their business, but they're not savvy about books, and they're slow, and they haven't paid their taxes in 10 years. And you're like, your great accounting company's like, look, we're ready, but we're waiting on your K1s. Okay? Every LLC you have that has any kind of profit and loss in it needs a K1. Right?
Yeah, I've seen. Oh.
The Intuit definition is a form that reports the amounts that are passed through to each party that has an interest in the entity.
Okay, you were going to say something, Rose?
Oh, I was just going to say that I have seen people where they go ahead and file their tax return without the K1, and then like 6 months later they get a letter from the IRS saying you owe us X number of income, because those K1s are reported to the IRS and they do match them up eventually.
So then he had to pay all those late fees because he had a profit on that other K1, correct? Probably.
So unless there's
And then he didn't declare that profit, just like a 1099. Didn't declare that profit, got the K1, screwed up the taxes. Then from that day forward, or from the day that it was due, October 15th, depending on what his taxes are, he's going to pay those penalties and late fees and interest.
Yeah.
All because we were homies and we made an LLC. Okay? So does that go back to, I'm not trying to push you, should you have more people on your LLC? It just depends on what you're trying to do. But listen, when you do an LLC with someone, you need to have this in writing, and then we're about to get to that in a minute, but at least you need to have an understanding of what's going on, and you need to know what you're doing from that day forward with accounting purposes. This could cripple you or hurt you in your borrowing power, in your taxes. And for example, let me give you another example. So we're over here at LLC Fun Flunky, and we're having a blast, and we sell that company. Okay, this happened to me. We sold that company, but we didn't declare certain products and services properly as assets or as goodwill, and we had to capture depreciation on that business. Where did that go? On the K1. I had to pay for that. Did you see the effect that this K1 could do? Okay. Any other questions, comments?
Before you just take and say, be careful not having, it sounds like you're kind of going down the route of be careful having other members in there with you. But other members can also bring in assets and cash and talents that you don't have and help you.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't be partners.
I'm just saying that you got to consider that, and then how well you work with others. I mean, it's got to be what you personally,
Right.
what fits you.
Definitely.
That's not a prize, but we're on the same page. We're on the same page. I'm just trying to emphasize, a lot of people just get willy-nilly, and I think you should have a partnership. I'm not opposed to partnerships. But just understand that the person that you're dealing with, this affects everything for you from there forward. People just, hey, I hear this all the time. I just did my own LLC on LegalZoom, and they don't know the ramifications of what's happening. They just partner with someone, or I've seen people partner in LLCs just on flips. Has anybody done that? Mm-hmm. On a flip? Or they did it on a wholesale deal, so they created an LLC to get the house under contract with an LLC, and then there's a profit to be led there. But then you just made up this shell LLC. The goal here is just to tell you what's out there. I know from personal experience, I didn't know any of this stuff. And if you know this stuff, you probably should just leave the room. But you should just consider partnerships, and these are the things that are going to happen. If I wish when I started LLCs with people that I knew that this was going to happen. And now when I start an LLC with somebody, here's the deal. We're going to set this much money aside. We're going to set this much money so we can get this bookkeeper to do this job so we can receive our K-1s. Are we comfortable with that? And then, who's going to be our bookkeeper for that? Who are you going to use, And then when you get that situated, then it should be no problems. Okay, now, so everybody, questions on there. So that was your articles of organization. Now,
Okay, I have a question.
come to find out. Yes, sir.
If me and my wife are partners in LLC,
Mhm.
and I'm the managing partner, do I have to give K1 to my wife?
A K-1, no, because you filed the same taxes together, right?
Well,
50-50
it depends on, if you're 50-50, she has a K-1 too. Yeah.
Oh, it's just in that taxes.
The
My wife's not on my
S-Corp
LLC.
will issue a K-1 to you and your wife, and you both claim it on your tax return.
Oh,
So let's just understand this.
So you keep saying S-Corp. What if you just have the LLC and not the S-Corp?
Yeah, we're going to get to S-Corps and C-Corps here in a minute. Can you answer that now?
Yeah, so if you just have the LLC, then that's just reported on your personal tax return. So you can have an LLC and elect to be taxed as an S-Corp. And then that creates that IRS tax classification of an S-Corp.
Trigger to get a K-1.
Well, yeah, and do the S-Corp tax return. The K-1 is on the S-Corp tax return.
Okay.
Even if there's just single member,
You can be a single member S-Corp.
is it still K1 if it's a
Yeah.
single member?
Mhm.
I think with any LLC, you have to have K-1.
Any S-Corp or C-Corp.
Okay. I just, across the board. Good question. Yes, sir.
I got a question. So if you set up your LLC and it's just single entity, and then you get hit by a bus, what happens then?
You have a beneficiary in an LLC that should be in your organizational.
Okay. Well, because I'm just saying, because the bank got all twisted with me because me and my wife are 50-50 partners, but I'm the only one that has authority to sign.
Managing.
And then they say, well, if you get hit by a bus,
I mean, they're designated.
she's left in the wind. So, just
Well, if you died tomorrow, it all defaults to her anyway. Now, probably go
But
through
they said
probate.
she wouldn't be able to sign on the loan
Right.
because
No.
the articles of organization aren't set up where she can sign. Well, they are now, but they weren't.
Well, you can get an injunction.
Just put it in your operating agreement. In the event of my death,
You can
she
just,
takes over.
admin,
Yeah.
you can just make a,
Yeah, but she's already passed away. But I think you can do an injunction on that and prove that, like with a death decree, right? Like in a situation like that, he's saying that if he died, his wife died,
Or if I
and
died.
if
'Cause I
he
was
died,
the
he
one that
died,
signed.
and now she has, since he died, hopefully in organizational things, it has so that you have the ownership when they die.
Most operating agreements provide for the death of a member and what happens to their ownership interest.
Okay.
It can be devised down to people, or it can be, let's say, it'll go to the other member. It can do that, whatever you want to do with it, but that's the importance of the operating agreement.
And that's where we're going to go now.
Anticipate the problems and how to deal with them.
Okay, so then after that, you get all that stuff. You get your Secretary of State, then you get your EIN number. You know how to do that? It's pretty simple. You go to the. I'm gonna speed this up here. Then you're gonna go to irs.gov, and you can. Did you know this? Well, let me how I can phrase this question. You can get other EIN numbers off of another EIN number. Do you guys have a tree? Like say you start off with your social, and then you have this one LLC. This one LLC could have other LLCs under it, and it's not necessarily Series LLC, but you can have EIN numbers under that one LLC.
what's the point in doing that?
More layers of protection.
Yeah.
Smart young man. So, for example, do you want me to give you an example? Like if you're in two different industries, real estate or tech world, right? I would not put my tech company under a different LLC with my real estate because then that's considered an asset under that LLC. And they can go after you directly.
You can cross entities, right? You can have like an S-Corp that's over everything and then different LLCs for
Yes.
different parts of that. Yeah, okay.
Okay, then you get your federal ID number. Well, here, this is interesting how all this came up. Oh, you got to stay on top of your filings. There's another thing a lot of things don't know. You ever heard of the word called pierce the veil? Or there's a word, a banker has asked you this question, and I'm not articulating it well, so just bear with me, but your articles are not up to date? Or there's a term for that?
You've got to make minutes on a regular basis.
Okay,
And,
well,
and that has part of it as well.
so,
What does that mean?
well, let me try to tell you. So, like, there's a thing, they call it it's called the, I don't know, franchise tax here in Oklahoma, but you have to, is that the right term? It's been a long time since I worked on this. It's a franchise tax. Okay, how much is that? Anybody know what that is? $25 a year. So let me give you an example why this is important.
That's your annual filing fee.
Your annual filing fee. Okay, or some people call it franchise tax. Well, am I wrong?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm wrong. That's why you hire this. I love Henry Ford. He didn't know anything. He just hired the best people. So here's the deal. I know this for a fact. Okay, I know this part. So hopefully I'm not wrong, but it's possible.
Everything you said you know for a fact, you might not.
Yeah, just. Well, somewhat. I just articulated it wrong. I'm not a good speaker, obviously. So, but listen, you got to get. This is very important. I'm serious. Like I learned this by the grace of God. Okay, and get that on tape. Here's the deal: if you have an LLC and you don't pay your annual $25 fee, what happens?
You are not in good
You're an
standing.
asset.
You're not. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. You're not in good.
a lawsuit.
You can't defend a lawsuit, and guess what else happens? It's like it never existed. So, are we amped up on like there was 10 years click by in my one of my LLCs? It is common. It could happen at any time during that 10 years. I would have got sued. It would have not mattered. So yeah, you could joke and make fun of me all you want. I'm not a good speaker. I'm telling you, what you learned today, that was the most important thing that I've learned. And it's also known as, yes, sir.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say that while you're talking about the annual filing fee,
Yep.
Very recently I've been seeing a lot of letters go out to business owners from a company saying that they'll renew your annual filing fee for $125. And the form looks very official, but it's a ripoff. So just be heads up about that.
Ooh, you get a book.
In your
You want this
mail.
one? There you go.
And piggybacking on that too, when you go get your federal ID number, there's a site that does the same thing. I just Google, bam, going through the steps, and I was like, wow,
Good
why
job.
is this costing me money?
Good job, guys. I'll give you a Sonic card. Or do you want a Sonic card? Okay. They're right in what they're saying, because I have some trademarks that I own. And trademarks, trademarks. And they have to renew them, okay? And when they come up, I'm not paying attention. All of a sudden, I'm flooded with a bunch of scammers. They'll do it for you. So it's the same principle with filing documents. So in my business, man, we have this on lockdown. I wish Oklahoma City would just automatically renew this because there's been some times, depending on how many LLCs, this will fall through the cracks. You need to put this in your phone. You need to save this. You need to call. You need to do this.
So you're the only one who can do that?
No, my staff does it, but you have to log in.
Right. Well, what I mean is what you were saying. You can't do it automatically, or just
No, not that I know of.
They don't even send a letter out in the mail.
They don't send-
usually
yeah, they-
email you reminding you.
You will forget. I'm serious. 10 years click by on one LLC. I know I shouldn't confess that because it makes me sound like I'm Big Daddy. But
attorney suggests just go in March, and if you have 10 or 300 in March every year, just do them all. That way you don't miss that. Kind of set a date and bam. So
2 Sonic cards. Okay. Now here's the deal. I know I talk too much. So here's the thing. That's just the articles of organization. Now you have this other document. What's that document called?
Operating agreement.
Operating agreement. Anybody want to take a stab at that?
It's everything.
It's everything. Good, well said, Mr. Carpenter. Listen, we could spend all day on this. This is where you probably should get an attorney. But here's the deal. A lot of people have this boilerplate organizational thing. You really need to take time to know it and understand it. You can amend it. You can change it. Now, here's the thing. If you're going to open a bank, anybody questions on organizational stuff? No? Because this could take too long.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I went and tried to open up a bank account the other day, and it wasn't easy. The federal government is cracking down on LLCs, and they're enforcing regulation on this. I don't know if we had this not too long ago when the LLC we shafted. I would be curious to see what happened to you. But the girl wouldn't open the account on me. I just opened an LLC, opened another business. My partner and I were running this deal, and like I got blowback at the bank. I didn't have my LLC. I was like, well, I'm waiting on my attorney. No offense. And I was like, I'm waiting on my attorney. I was just trying to slide this deal in. I didn't even tell her. But I was like, I just see how they responded. I was like punking them at the bank. And I was like, dude, you see my accounts? What's the deal? And they wouldn't do it. I was like, well, can I open up a DBA account and then convert that account over to an LLC account? I said, I have tons of accounts here. I haven't had this problem before. This is something that's been rolling out. Regulation has been really hard on, and I'm telling you, that goes all the way to the K-1 world. So you had to have a Secretary of State registered, and they check it. You got to have the certificate. So if next time you're trying to open up a bank account, make sure you have all this stuff lined out. Then you have to have your articles of organization. Okay? And you can get that pretty easily, and then you got to do all this other stuff. So opening a bank account is not as easy as it used to be. All right. Questions? Any questions on what we said so far? Any new questions? We can go into S-Corp C-Corps if that's cool with you. Okay. No questions?
When you get your EIN, you should maybe like save it under your contacts in your phone if you ever need it, because I've been told don't lose that because you can't get another one. So have it like in your password keeper, where you keep such things. And have it.
Now, here's a couple things about people. Does anybody, just be honest, does not have an EIN number? You don't have one. You don't have one? You have a business?
Yeah.
You have a business, but you don't have one? You don't have to have one per se. Okay. Well, one thing you can do with an EIN number, you can get credit in your EIN number. Did you guys know that? You can get $10,000 tomorrow at Home Depot if you have an EIN number. I don't recommend that. It's 20-something% interest, but I've seen that a dozen times where relatively new investors remodeling a house has an EIN number, fills out. Now I've seen an investor fill out, then they got declined somehow, and then went back and filled it out, got declined, went back third time, got 10,000. So you treat your EIN number like a Social Security card. Okay.
What is the difference between EIN and FEIN?
They're the same thing. Yeah.
This is awesome. I just looked at her. Ask me another question.
One thing when you're registering your EIN number on the website, it's kind of confusing, and a lot of times I've seen people select partnership because they think, oh, I'm doing this with someone else, it's going to be a partnership. And that causes problems down the road because what the IRS is saying that you want to be taxed as a partnership. And then what happens is they don't file the partnership form. The IRS sends a letter saying, where's your partnership tax return? But if you're going into business with somebody, I still suggest setting up an LLC when you're doing your EIN number. And then go to your tax person and say, okay, now I want to be an S-Corp. And then they will do that.
What's the difference between, explain S-Corp and C-Corp.
So an S-Corp is still a pass-through entity. You have to have less than like 100 members. The biggest difference with that and setting up still like an LLC on your personal tax return is the self-employment tax savings. So an S-Corp, you have to have a salary. The officer has to have a reasonable salary. And the S-Corp makes that salary payment, and they also pay the employer's portion of payroll taxes, which is the Social Security and Medicare tax. Then the S-Corp gets to deduct that Social Security and Medicare tax. So in essence, you're saving 7.65% of self-employment tax. And then when it passes through on your personal tax return, you're going to have a W-2, which is you're going to be taxed at your ordinary income tax rate.
Which is good for Social Security.
Then you're going to have the pass-through tax, or pass-through income, which is your net income from your S-Corp. But you're not going to have any self-employment tax. Whereas if all that same income was, let's say, done on your individual tax return, you're going to be taxed at the 15.3% self-employment.
You have more control.
Yeah.
What's the downside?
What was
the downside? There's just more cost involved with it. You know, it creates a whole separate tax return.
Which could be a yearly fee.
A yearly fee.
And your reported self-employment payment has to be in line with other people.
And in the timetable.
The other thing, and some people might want to consider this too, is you're paying less into Social Security.
Which the government's strong, and
That-
you'll get that money back.
That's all your opinion, however you look at it. But you know, when you
My age, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Right.
You're so young, girl. What do you mean your age?
I'm not gonna be paying in that many more, I mean, I'll probably.
not that many more quarters.
I don't. We could hit stop on that one. I can give you my whole philosophy on that one.
Right. So you take that.
Okay, so C-Corp.
So C-Corps are usually recommended for really high income entities. They're taxed at, well, this year it's going to be lower, but it was 35%. And then usually the goal with C-Corps is to bring that net income down to zero. So they don't have to pay that
Big chunk.
And then, of course, if you have more than 100 members, you want to be a C-Corp. With C-
Is it different regulations as well?
Yeah.
Different reporting too, right?
If you have,
more than 100.
yeah, definitely. I don't ever run into that often. Just with really high income is when. Let's see what else. So then they also have to have payroll. Usually with those, the officer, the managing owners get a high salary to reduce that taxable income on the C-Corp.
There's a couple things that a lot of people don't know, maybe not, just want to be verified with you. That if I am a C-Corp, can I change? I heard that no, you can't. You start out once, you can't change it. You got to dissolve it. So if you try to be savvy and try to be a C-Corp, and and then you try to go back to an S-Corp, you can't do that.
Right.
Okay, so just make sure you're aware of that. Because I remember the day that I changed, I was like, it was a decision in my mind. I'm like, where am I taking the company? What am I doing? Where am I going? All right, any questions for Superstar Rose Taylor, International?
So in the C-Corp though, you're trying to pull in that heavy income and trying to take the net down to zero. So in that case, you would be trying to shut it out of salary as opposed to
Expenses too, right?
Yeah, the other beautiful thing about S-Corps is the draw that you can
You
take.
don't get taxed on it, right?
What?
It's just considered income?
Yeah, it's just income. There's no tax on it. So
Tax-free income?
Yeah. Everyone looks at me like I'm crazy when I tell them that, but
Whoa. Explain
as
to me.
long as you're profitable, let's say that, and you
can't do earned income credit on that.
Well, that earned income credit is all based on your overall income.
That's your personal, right?
Yeah, on your
That's when you
personal.
deduct
Okay, so we're talking about an
expenses
entity.
down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trying to be clear.
So let's say you have an S-Corp and you net $50,000 for the year. So after all your expenses are accounted for, your depreciation and all that, you have $50,000 left. We're going to give you a reasonable salary. Let's say, I don't know, $20,000, and we're going to pay Social Security and Medicare tax on that $20,000. Then you have a net income of $30,000. Technically, that is income. You could write yourself a check for $30,000
At the end of the year.
at the end of the year. Yeah. Now, if you're operating at a loss,
Well,
no, I'm not saying it wasn't you. I wasn't. No. Just like saying.
and I do. There's some years that I do. This is tax strategy. You want to take
If
some
you're
losses.
operating at a loss, then no, there's no money on the books that you can take a draw. So a lot of times people, they put that back into the business and they just keep building up equity over the years.
And does equity continue to just keep on moving?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I called her one time. I was like, "Hey, I want to do this. Oh, you have enough equity built up. How does that work? Who keeps track of the equity?
It's on your balance sheet. So
Just on the balance sheet, but is that recorded with the IRS too?
What's
yeah.
considered the equity, the assets minus the expenses?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, the assets minus the liabilities and your net income, plus or minus. So if you have a net loss, then that's going to be subtracted from your equity.
Cool.
So how does it play like when you have, say you're at a loss, you still have to take a salary though, right, at some time?
No.
So it can be,
Yeah, the IRS doesn't have any black and white rules on the salary. They just say reasonable.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what is reasonable?
Right. It's reasonable.
What's reasonable? Sam, what's reasonable?
It's good or reasonable, it's okay.
No, what's the number? What's a good salary for you?
Like yearly?
Daily, yeah, yearly. How much you want to make it? I know my daily, but anyway, just give me a number, homie.
5 million.
All right, so anybody, what's a good reasonable salary? Because there is, I think the IRS looks at this. Just
Yeah.
like, I know,
And the,
you need to take this serious.
The other thing
because
is
people
if-
think reasonable is not the same.
if you have an S-Corp currently, go look on your S-Corp and see if there's a number that says next to officer's compensation. See if you have a salary there, because a lot of times it's something that's overlooked by tax preparers, and it's a red flag because they are required to take a salary if you're operating at positive income.
It's critical. Now let's just
Yeah.
go into the salary. We'll get another thing. Paying into Social Security. There's a certain amount that you should pay in, right? Yes, no, maybe. Like
Just the percentage.
Is there a minimum that you could pay? Because there's a certain amount that you can trigger so you can draw it back. Because if you don't, right? There's a number that you need to be aware of that too. A lot of people don't know that. I don't remember the number, but Larry knows the number.
Yeah.
Because I sat down with him, I had a big fight with the accountant guy. I was like, buddy, I'm not paying in Social Security. Whatever it needs to take, I'm not paying in that deal. And for years, I didn't pay into it because I know I'm not going to get it back out. I knew that 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I knew that for sure. And but he started paying it for him. We started paying it this last 4 or 5 years because it triggers something at a certain age. You can draw a certain amount of number.
It was for your wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Probably why I did it. Because I'm like, nope, not me, homie. I'm not paying in that deal.
Yeah, because Shay doesn't have
a job.
anything paid into Social.
So if I died and we all lost all the property, she can at least draw some Social Security.
Yeah. So and it's reasonable.
Yeah, there's a number in there. I'm just being serious because some people are like me, crazy, and so you need to be aware of that. Yes, sir.
Let's say that your wife's been paying into Social Security and you're paying into Social Security, and you reach the retirement age, and then a few years later, let's say you pass before she does, she can still collect your salary
Yes.
and her salary.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason you want to pay into it.
So you want to pay the government Social Security. I just want to be clear.
I want to take care of my wife.
Life insurance works. Life insurance is a good thing,
There's that too.
but you're going to trust the government.
This is
Just want to be
where you get
clear.
into that discussion.
We're all on the same page.
Whatever you want to do.
You see what's happening. Just want to, you're gonna keep. It's gonna be there. It's gonna be there. It's gonna be there.
Yeah.
It's gonna be there.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to help you. You've been.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a little bit older than me, barely.
I think that question, like a lot of us, our goal is to get out of the maybe W-2 world, maybe love it and you can stay in. But when you switch to the 1099 world or S-Corps and stuff like that, you paid a big chunk back in your career days.
Exactly.
How do you not lose access to that? Is there a certain number of
I don't think you
years
do.
have to pay, something like that? I think there's.
Can you lose it?
Well, they when you go to draw Social Security, they look at your highest earning quarters. Is the way it works, and I want to say it's 24
Years or quarters?
Quarters. So they'll look at those, and that's whatever the highest earning. That's what they're going to take to determine.
In a sequence,
So you
or
got-
is it like I was killing it back in when I was 10.
That's that question I had.
Now I'm 50 and I'm broke.
You had to pay like 10 years worth, so it was like 40 quarters.
Okay, yeah, maybe,
So it's 40
maybe it was
quarter-
that 40. Yeah,
But yeah,
I don't
so
have
you
the
have to
number
pay
off
at
the
least
top of my
10
head.
years.
So if you pay at least 10 years, it'll take the best quarters, even if you haven't paid in a lot the last 20 years of your life.
Oh, so it's a snapshot of the best 40 quarters.
Yes.
Actually, you want
Oh,
to
great.
get
So
paid-
if you were a W-2 employee for 10 years,
24 might be right.
it would be ideal for you, right? Well, I haven't been a
If you
W-2
go to the
employee
Social
ever.
Security Administration, there's a report you can pull. Sometimes they mail it out to you, but it will tell you your benefits.
Yeah, you definitely can log in and check that, but I just didn't know if it started diving since I'm not paying a lot of Social Security anymore.
Yeah.
That was my concern.
That's a good question.
Because I had a lot of quarters.
Dude, you got 3 Sonic cards.
No, it'll take the highest.
That's. Oh, I wish they would. That would make sense. Because it's my money anyway. Since I threw it in the machine. But they're going to
I'll
penalize
get
me
a,
for. I don't want to get into the
the
government.
specifics, and I'll give it to you, Stephen.
Oh, she's going to Google it up. Any questions for our attorney
I'll
friend?
email you.
Okay.
Oh, she's going to email me.
Okay, husband and wife both are retired.
Your wife, both retired.
Both are retired.
Okay.
Husband died. So wife can get her social security and husband security both together or only one?
So that's the question that Mr. Riddle said. You should, if his wife died, they both paid into Social Security, he can draw her Social Security, right?
Or vice versa.
Or vice versa. Yes.
So, but what I assume, one of the ladies, she was telling me that only you can get the higher one. Which one is higher?
Yeah, I don't know. Do you know that answer?
Well, once they die, there's no.
No Social Security benefits? If the person was not employed.
Right.
Like if they don't have
Yes.
income. If you both have income and you both made money, when she passes away, that's out. That's the good old government.
You get like a death
They're
benefit.
like, you've been paying in
one
that for
final
50
payment,
years.
And then it's done.
You can't sign that to a charity. You can't give it to Jesus. No. You can't get it back. You're penalized.
We take it because we do so much better with it.
I mean, just think about it logically. I mean, has anybody ever just thought about Social Security?
Yeah.
Just for fun?
It's a rip-off.
Just like, I'm gonna pay you 40% my whole life. So that means I'm working from January, February, March, April, May, for free. But you're promising me, since we're not in a deficit and we're fully on the green side of things, above the board, black line.
You said you weren't going to get the government.
I'm not against the government. But see, if you look at it though, I'm not against the government. And the thing is what the people that are amped up on this deal is the people that are not paying into it and the people that are drawing from it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying, and there's people that need it. I'm all about, I like social service. I serve. I like people. There's less fortunate people. And I think, but the society has attacked rich people and penalized rich people, and rich people make the world go round in essence. And if the people are less fortunate, but right now the money's been robbed for so long, but the lies have not been. And so, you can look at my taxes. I put in just enough. Okay, I hope that I never draw out of it. But I met a multi-millionaire once that makes nets $500,000 a year. Okay, and he doesn't pay any taxes at all, and still draws Social Security check, and he gives it to charity, but he takes it because it's his. Right? I mean, is that sinful? Is that wrong? I mean, it's just such a crazy debate. It's just a negative thing. And I'm only just teasing the government. I mean, I'm very thankful for the government. We couldn't have roads. We couldn't have this place. I was educated by the government somewhere along the line of my life. Okay? But I took my own education, and this is where I am today. I wish we all would teach us, and I'm glad that you're here, and I'm proud of you for being here. Most people don't take the time. People want to eat, watch TV right now on their break. This is not an easy subject. It was difficult for me to even pick this subject. I was like, these are just things that I'm dealing with in life, and these are the questions that people tell me. But you are responsible for your life. The choices that you make are all on you. If we can just take responsibility and not be entitled, the government owes me this. I don't think they owe me anything. All the money that I've overpaid I'm 44 years old. I'm thankful for the life that I have, right? I'm bummed that I get hammered at insurance. I'm bummed that I get hammered at the gas pump. I'm bummed that I get taxed 3 times. The money that I make, the money that I spend, I get taxed everywhere. If you really figure it out, how much we're being taxed and where's it going, it's okay.
Likes talking about that.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. It's just a sad thing. I'm just thankful that we live in a free country. I don't know if it's really free. We're praying. And I feel sorry for the people that are disconnected from their families because of our government. All right, 6 minutes or some change. We got 2 wonderful women up here that are incredible.
I have a few things that I
She even brought a book that she wrote.
Well, first of all, Barnes & Noble has
Tell me.
It's not specific to Oklahoma, it's general, so there's not specific stuff to Oklahoma. But there is a lot of good stuff in here, so I recommend it to read this.
LLC for Dummies.
A lot
Does it
about
cover operational agreement?
Oh, yeah, totally.
So if you struggle, make sure, spend some time, don't just throw an LLC together and not do your operational.
A lot of people simply do the paperwork at the Secretary of State and they never do their operating agreement. But it is becoming more common, like Stephen said, for the bank to ask you for your operating agreement along with your articles of incorporation. And when I closed at the title company recently, they also want to see your operating agreement.
Which is kind of a sensitive issue.
You need to do that. Single member, this is where you get into the difference in the prices that people charge you for doing an LLC. The single member, it's easy. It's you dealing with the world. When you bring an additional partner in, that changes everything. Who owns what, how much, how do we divvy up the profits, what if things go south, what if there's a loss, who's liable on the contracts. There's so many aspects of it that has to be dealt with, and not when there's a problem, before there's a problem. So I think the difference in somebody charging you 300, 400, 500, 600, that's probably a single member. The 2,000 is probably, have 3 people coming together, they're gonna all be partners. That has to be very specific and set out. Now, here's what, I'll tell you this. On your articles of organization, this is a public document. You talk about putting members on here, do not put members on here. In fact, when you go down and fill this out,
Try not to
do
put
not
your
put
name on
your
there.
name anywhere on this.
Try not to put your name on there.
LLCs, that's what they say, limited liability.
So can
But-
you put another LLC as a member?
You can,
But
but,
not LLC.
but the thing is, there is an element of secrecy to this. When you look up a property on the county assessor and you see it's owned by an LLC, you think to yourself, gosh, I wonder who's affiliated or owns it or runs it or whatever. Well, what I do is I get a Secretary of State and they say, okay, who's a service agent? Oh, this idiot put himself down. Oh, he's the one, okay. If I want to try to pierce the corporate veil on that, I know that's the go-to guy. So I want to put, you can get a service agent as your lawyer. You can hire these companies called the Corporation Company and others like them. That's all they do. For a fee, annual fee, they will take your service and process. They're there during normal business hours all the time. And you need to get somebody, not yourself, an office that is open 8 to 5 to take service and process. Because the worst thing you can do is not be notified of a pending lawsuit, and they'll just put it in the journal record a couple of times, and boom, you're in default.
And that has actually happened to me. I haven't gotten default, but the gentleman that made my LLC 20 years ago has moved firms, and now he's a partner of his own firm. Well, he's moved how many firms? 3 or 4 firms? That original address that he wrote is on there. It's interesting. It takes, just for fun, it usually takes me about 5 to 6 weeks for me to get that subpoena. Just FYI. If you're suing this one LLC. So it's critical to put that on there.
Now, because these are limited liability companies, that's the whole reason you're doing it, is so they can't get to your personal assets. You must treat the LLC as a separate person, entity, and please don't violate it by putting stuff on your, paying for it, then getting paid back and things like that. If you do that very many times, when they look at this, they're going to say, well, you disregard the entity, so we can disregard the entity and go to you personally.
Let me clarify what she's saying. That she's saying, like, you're operating as an LLC and you don't have a bank account, and you're writing a check out of your personal bank account for that house that you're buying.
Or paying out of your LLC account.
You don't
for
have an
your
LLC.
regular bills.
Right. You understand? You're
That's
not
called
operating.
commingling.
You're not operating as a business. That's why you have to go and get a bank account, and now they're making it harder to do. This is the application that I just got. They want to know what members. They want to know all this details. No. Okay, good job, Jackie.
When you
Keep
go
going.
online, it has 2 pages that really guides you through the process. Like your name has to end in LLC, LC, limited liability company, or limited. It has to say one of these things behind it to give the designation of what kind of entity you are. And then it tells you, like you said, there's certain things you can't put on there. Like you can't say you're a professional, like attorney or whatever, if you don't hold that license. It talks about the principal place of business. The email address is extremely important. That's how they notify you of your annual franchise tax. According to this guy, is the same thing as the filing fees. It's another word
I just
for
learned
the
it as a
filing
franchise
fees.
fee. Nationwide, it's
Anyway,
franchise fee.
they will notify you by email. Usually 4 months ahead, so it's easy to forget still. Because
They
you're
do
like,
when you
I've
get
got
the
4
email
more
in
months
there.
to think about it, and you.
But keep in mind, when I did my LLC 20 years ago, there
They didn't
wasn't
do
an
that.
LLC. They didn't do that.
They didn't do that.
So make sure if your email's there. Good.
Aside from the $25 annual fee, are there any other maintenance requirements?
Just your accounting, like your taxes. You're going to file your taxes as an entity.
I put in here just a sample operating agreement. Don't go by it, but it just tells you the major headings of some things that you need to consider when you're drafting your own. You can go on the internet and get various, go-bys and stuff like that, but you need to ask yourself, does this fit my particular the way I'm doing business and the number of members and things
But you
like
can
that.
draft it like through a lawyer or something, right?
You
You
can.
don't have to specifically know how to
No,
structure
you
all
can,
that.
you can
You
do it
kinda want
yourself,
one.
or you can go to a lawyer, that's what I'm
Gotcha.
saying, but if you have a multi-member, I would suggest always going to a lawyer.
Who are you saying?
Because those are complicated.
Who are you saying to have on that instead of your name or anyone else?
No, I'm just talking about only the articles of organization.
She's talking about the second document. That's like the business, like who owns the
This-
business,
when
what's
you
the
were talking
This
percentages.
is a
second ago,
public
you said
document, the
don't have
single
your-
page
yeah.
that you fill out when you go.
Don't
to
have
the
your personal name on there because they're going to serve you a
And see,
subpoena.
on the bottom it says it must be signed by at least one person who may or may not be a member. It doesn't have to be signed by a member.
Right.
Your
But you were
service agent can be
recommending
somebody.
like a company or something that, a location or something that you said.
To get served,
Right.
serve the papers.
Yeah, your
So you might want to have an
service agent
office
could be
or
a
a
professional
PO
that-
box. Well, I don't know.
Who are you recommending? You said something like the D Corp.
They're corporation companies, the company, there's 2 or 3 major ones here in the
their
city
name.
that you can designate and pay an annual fee to them.
Gotcha.
And they'll receive the
And that's a pretty
subpoenas.
safe way, because if you just
They
say,
have a PO box.
me or my wife, or somebody,
So,
you know, even
so
your
what is that
lawyer may
called,
not be
Jackie?
there 20.
What's that? What is that called? That term? A
The-
designated
The service agent.
service agent for your company.
Yeah, they accept service.
Service
deposits.
agent. So Google that up
And other,
and share
oh,
the
by
wealth.
the way, my service agent, I'll get some junk mail from, you know,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
other junk.
Okay, any other questions?
Stored away.
Just some advice for people that are wanting to do LLCs with a business partner.
Yes. This.
Speaking from personal experience, if you have an agreement, you need to, as she said, outline exactly who gets paid what and when. But what my old business partner didn't do when he created our LLC was have a termination clause in the agreement.
Yeah, that's why I gave you this, it has a dissolution, what happens
Yeah.
when.
That's my favorite
you
word.
have-
Disillusion.
So if you're disillusioned.
But if you don't
Incapacitated
have-
is another one.
If you don't have some sort of an agreement to say, okay, we're gonna end this LLC, what happens? We don't wanna work together anymore, for whatever reason. You need to be very specific about that and cross every T and dot every I.
Sounds like you've been through the ringer.
Usually in the operating
All right.
agreement with
Put your hands
multiple-
together for our lovely ladies up front.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook and always be buying assets.